So we have the soul, the conscience. So we dealt with that. Now, here's the third part. Here's the third part. So we have this. The progression is God, who is spirit. So this is one. He created man in his likeness. This is two. That's the soul. So you have image and you have likeness. So we have these two things, right? Number three is what? God inserted the breath, which is the spirit and the soul, the invisible parts of men, into a body. There's your third part. All of that equals a human. All of that is you. You will never, ever, ever be without a spirit. You, according to the scripture, will never be without a soul. Guess what? You will never, ever be without a body. So wait a minute. What about those people who've already died? What about them? What about them? Well, hey, don't, what, their bodies are still here on the earth. Where you find that at in the book? The body that they currently have is dust. It can't go to heaven. It's part of this world. It is tainted with sin. When the person leaves this body, what did the book of Ecclesiastes say? We read that. It said the spirit goes back to God. What happens to the body made of dust? Goes back to the earth. What earth? The new one? No, man. No. There's no sin there. If God takes this dust, this sinful body, and deposit it over there, then he'll be depositing sin there. Can't do that. So let me help you. Good question, by the way. Very good question. So let's go to the board and let's look at this. Let's ask and answer the question. Here's the question. Where does, or let's go with what? What happens to our bodies? And another question behind this one is, so that's one, two, do the people who already died currently have bodies? Good question. What's your answer? I hope it's coming from the book. All right. So, so we know the answer to this, right? The book says in Ecclesiastes and in Genesis, thus returns to dust, right? Okay, on this earth, it doesn't, because why? Because of sin. That's why. That's the answer. Genesis, I think it's Ecclesiastes chapter 11, Genesis chapter 1, chapter 3. So Genesis 3, where God pronounces a curse, I believe this is Ecclesiastes chapter 11. All right, now that's the answer to your current body. Now, I get another body. Everyone, every human will receive another type of body. Now, for you who don't understand what I'm saying, the Bible declares there are two types of future human bodies. I didn't say that. God said that. And you can find that. And we're going to look at it right quick. But here's the scripture reference. It's over in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. All right. So to finish off the first question, let's go look at, well, let's get to Genesis 3, show you that the dust returns to dust for those who don't know the Bible. Because there's some people here who don't know what I'm talking about. So let's go knock that one out real quick. Here's the curse. We were all, cursed because of what Adam did. Look at this. God says, hey, because you did this, eat of the tree of life, cursed is the ground for your sake, in toil you shall eat of it. So this is where you have problems with every single food group that you get. This is where it comes from. You wonder why the food that we're eating, you say, oh, it's preservative. No, man. Now, those things may be bad for us. Things they spray on the crops and all, whatever. That's not why your food is killing you. The food is killing you because curse is the ground. And you're going to eat from what? A cursed ground. All the animals, the meat that you eat, what do they eat? They eat stuff that comes from a cursed ground. Remember the word that I gave you? Well, that the Bible gave you? Futility. What does that mean? That means decay. Why is it decaying? It's decaying because it's under a curse. That's it. So even if no one done any kind of harm to the environment, any kind of pesticide, anything you can name, whatever you eat will still kill you. Why? Because God cursed it. And not only did he curse it, he's forcing us to eat it. He could have given you something to eat that's not under a curse, but that's not what he did. God cursed it and say, you shall eat it. And you're going to do it every single day of your life. Go ahead. Try not eating from something that's cursed. Good luck. Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you. There's your scarcity of food. Too much population on the earth. Get out of here, man. Where'd you read that at in the book? Stop listening to some lying, sinful, demonic people. By the way, if you're not saved, every single person out there is demonic. Influenced by the devil. That's what I'm saying. Not demonic, not possessed by demons, but influenced by the demons and this world. Saying just the opposite of what the Bible says. It's going to bring thorns and thistles. So this is where we get scarcity of food from. You don't get scarcity of food because there's too many people on the planet. You don't get scarcity of food because there's too much salt water or too much sunshine. No, man. You get scarcity of food because God cursed the world. And then he says, instead of growing food, it's going to produce thorns and thistles. There were no thorns and thistles when God created Adam and Eve and put them in the garden. There was no scarcity of food. So if they had not sinned, would there be scarcity of food and too many people on the planet? Of course not. That means in the next life, in the next world, the new earth, there won't be any death. So you know how many people are going to be on the planet at that time? Nobody's ever going to die. Will there be scarcity of food? Of course not. And you're going to eat what? Herbs of the field. Now listen, folks. Listen to me very carefully. That's not normal. You shall eat what? Herbs of the field. That's part of the curse. So why are our bodies dying from what we eat? Look at what God said. Number one, everything that you eat is under a curse. God is forcing you to eat it. You're going to eat it all your days. Then, not only am I going to force you to eat it, I'm going to make you work really hard for it, and only a portion of your work is going to be successful. Do you see that? That's what he's saying. If you plant 1,000 rows of corn, I'm going to only allow you to reap 50%. The rest, I'm going to cause to bring up thorns, or I'm going to let some bug eat it, some animal eat it, some disease attached to it. But I'm not going to allow you to yield 100% of what you plant. Who's doing that? God did that. Don't go around blaming the pesticides. Is the pesticides good? No, I don't know. I have no idea, and I don't care. What I care about is what God said. Now, whether he used the locust, the caterpillar, the rabbit, the whatever, man, I don't care. He says you're not going to get 100% results out of what you put into it. That's what he said. Try overruling it. They do it all the time. They introduce nitrogen into fertilizers and all kinds of other things. But you know what happens? Even when they get bumper crops, do all of the grapes, are they all edible? Nope. Go to an apple and an orange vineyard or orchard. Will every apple be a good apple? Nope. Some going to have worms. Is every orange good? No. Some bird going to peck on the rascal. And folks, what I'm trying to tell you is God did it. He's not hiding from it. If you think he is, you're wrong. He's taking full responsibility of everything that's happening today in this world. If you want to know why there's food shortages, you blame God because he's the one that did it. He says you're going to eat herbs. And you know what that herb is going to do? If you think that's a good thing, then you're not paying attention. God didn't create you to eat herbs. It's part of the curse. And every time you eat it, you know what's happening? You're getting sick. But guess what? Why do we eat this stuff? Number one, because God says you're going to do it. That's why He's forcing you to eat it. Why? Because the things you're supposed to be eating are under a curse, and you're going to only get 50% of it. 50%. Is that you know, can I be 100% sure it's 50%? No. I can be 100% sure you're not getting 100 out of it. And I can be 100% sure that the herb, you ain't supposed to be eating it. Why am I eating it? You're eating it because you can't get what you're supposed to be eating. So you have no choice but to turn to something you're not supposed to eat that's going to make you sick. It's total rebellion against a holy God. In the sweat of your face, you shall eat bread. Now, what does that tell you? What did that sound like to you? That sounds like you're not going to have any comfort in this world to me. Bye comfort. Do you think Adam and Eve got hot and cold in the garden? Do you? After reading this, do you think that they ever sweat in the garden? They were working. God put them to work. Sweating is part of the curse. What does that do? That means their body changed. Their body changed. The composition of their body changed. That's what produced the sweat. It wasn't the amount of work that they were doing. It was the type of body they had. Something happened to their body. What? Futility. That's what happened to their body. Go and read Romans chapter 8. He explains to you what happened. God did. Till you return where? To the ground. For out of it you were taken. For thus you are, thus you're going to go back. Friend, this right here is so rich in all the mess that's going on today. It's because of this.